Let's talk about building young leaders, because I don't think it is what most people think it is. I see it very differently, and I see an issue with how we look at it. So I think a lot of parents believe that if their kids go to a good school, if they get good grades, if they master the right subjects, automatically that's going to equate to them becoming leaders. I don't believe leadership is formed through knowledge acquisition. It's formed through responsibility. Schools will optimize for information delivery. Very good at that. But information and formation are not the same thing. One, theoretically, and I do mean theoretically, it fills the mind. It fills the mind with information that's likely readily available to anybody at any time. The other one is responsible for shaping the person that knows himself, the person that knows herself, the person that knows how to learn, the person that is still curious, the person that knows how to adapt, the person that has personal agency. And most families don't realize they play this long tail game and they end up outsourcing the very thing schools were never, ever designed to do in the first place, and that's to form leaders. So I want to break this down just a little bit, and I want to start with what leadership very much is not. Leadership is not the accumulation of knowledge. It is not test scores, it is not degrees, it is not curriculum. Those things might give you some sort of foundation, but it surely does not mean that you can apply that knowledge automatically. It doesn't mean that you can lead yourself or lead others with it or because of it. And I see this with companies that I work with all of the time. They got these two students that they hire, and both are brilliant, both, straight A students. They went through the same honors programs. They went through the same AP classes. They went to the same Ivy League school. One of them graduates from there, comes in and is immediately asking to be told what to do. And the other one graduates and comes in and says, I'm going to create what needs to exist. Right. And it's a vast difference, but the difference is really not in their knowledge base. They've got the same knowledge base. The difference is in their ability and their willingness to make judgment calls and have responsibility, and their willingness to create and to be okay with the inevitable failure that comes along with real learning. Right. That first student in that example is formed to be competent within a system. The second one is formed to lead outside of the system, right? Two very different games. Knowledge can tell you what happened in 1776. Leadership is like, okay, well, next Tuesday when the team is falling apart and nobody knows what to do, I'm going to figure it out, right? So if leadership isn't knowledge, okay, then what is it? I believe leadership is judgment plus responsibility. It's the ability to be effective without chaos and to be effective without micromanagement. And so, a concrete example, think about a 14-year-old running a small business, even something simple like lawn care or tutoring younger kids. They're forming leadership ability. They have to make decisions. They've got to know how to price. They have to know how to handle customers. They've got to know how to say no. They've got to learn how to manage their time. There's no teacher giving them the answer. There's no formulaic rubric. Real clients, real time, real money, real consequences. Compare that to the 14-year-old who writes an essay in MLA format about entrepreneurship in school. Person might get an A, might have a great vocabulary, know all the terminology. That doesn't give them judgment. They have not exercised responsibility there. They've theoretically learned about leadership, but they haven't been formed as a leader. Formation happens through experience under responsibility. It's not through information about responsibility. Schools are very good at doing what they were designed to do. They were designed to optimize information delivery and behavior management at scale. That's what they do. And in many cases, again, they do it very efficiently. And look, if that is what you want, there is nothing wrong with that. But if you want to raise leaders that don't look like carbon copies of everybody else, you've got to understand or think through that a system optimizing for information is never going to be the same system that forms judgment and responsibility, or that optimizes for natural gifts or natural proclivities. So here's what we're big fans of here. Real world stakes. And in school, failure is theoretical, right? You get a bad grade, retake a test. Consequences are always academic. They're not actual consequences. But when leadership is formed, when the stakes are real, when the decisions you make impact something and impact real people and real outcomes, and there's real consequences, you have autonomy, but with accountability. Leadership is formed when you have the freedom to make those decisions and the responsibility to own the results, good and bad. Schools have to operate on compliance. They can't operate on autonomy. You have to be told what to learn, when to learn it, how to demonstrate it. There is very little room for independent judgment because the system requires standardization, iterative responsibility over time, right? Leadership develops through repeated cycles of decision making, consequences, reflection, adjust, scientific method of the whole thing, right? Schools have to operate in semesters and units, learn a thing, test it on a thing, move on. There's no long-term ownership of outcomes. So when families say to us, we want our kids to be leaders, but then send them to a system that optimizes for information delivery, there is an immediate fundamental mismatch, disconnect. The system cannot give you what it is not built to provide. And it's also why we believe so heavily that family-led leadership formation is essential. Leaders' character, that's not formed in institutions, it's formed in families. It always has been. It always will be. We think that's the most important part. Families are the only environment where real world responsibility can be transferred incrementally, where judgment can get coached in real time and the stakes are real, but the safety net is still present. And again, we model our campuses after that family structure. A family can give a 10-year-old responsibility for something that actually matters, right? I'd be fine giving my 10-year-old the budget for the groceries, planning a family trip, caring for his siblings, contributing to the family business. The outcome matters in all that. The family literally depends on those things. But if there's failure, nothing gets destroyed, right? They can get coached, they can learn, they can try again. Sovereign families, families that operate as these self-governing units that have clear roles, they got clear standards, they have clear expectations, they create the environment where leadership is formed naturally. It's what we do on our campuses as well. In a sovereign family or sovereign campus, children are not passive recipients of services. They're active contributors. They've got to learn judgment because they have to make decisions that very much impact other people. They develop that responsibility. They exercise it now at a scale that's appropriate to their developmental abilities. So we can't outsource this and wonder why our 18-year-olds can't make decisions. If we want kids that are competent, they can operate effectively in environments where rules aren't written and answers aren't provided and outcomes aren't, arbitrary. They actually matter. That's what we need. So bottom line is this, and I'll quit and want to hear what you guys think on this. Leadership is not the same as knowledge. I want you to take that away from this video. Leadership is judgment and responsibility, and it's formed through real experience underneath accountability. And family-led leadership formation is a sustainable model. It's, again, why we partner with families. We don't work against families, we partner with. And it's also why we make sure that our parents know what it means to be leaders as well. So with all that, I would love to hear your thoughts on forming leaders.